Asked her if she'd stay a while. She said that's really not my style. I might be here for tonight, but baby I'll be gone in the morning light. Take me away to my favorite place where I don't have to grow up and stay this young forever. Baby, can you play this game so hard you too busy growing up to be something you don't wanna be? Anywhere except where you gotta be tonight. Oh, you don't wanna be anywhere except where you gotta be tonight. Wherever you are tonight, I wanna be by your side. We can stay right here and get your next flight. And does it matter? And does it matter? Take me away to my favorite place where I don't have to grow up and stay this young forever. Baby, can you play this game so hard you too busy growing up to be something you don't wanna be? Anywhere except where you gotta be tonight. Oh, you don't wanna be anywhere except where you gotta be tonight. I wanna be wherever you are, wherever you are. I wanna be wherever you are, wherever you are. Anywhere except where you gotta be tonight. Oh, you don't wanna be anywhere except where you gotta be tonight. I wanna be, wherever you are, wherever you are. I wanna be, wherever you are, wherever you are. fire.
Good evening, everybody. It's Friday night, my friends, and I am back and ready to go and hopefully get some coding done here, friends. That is what I would like to do tonight for you. Let me just make sure. Where is my cursor? We're playing. Where is my cursor? Over there. Aha! There it is. All right. Bring up the main screen. Welcome, everybody. So yeah, it's it's been a week, friends. It's really difficult. I've been past month or so been in crunch mode, really, at work, because we do like software releases twice a year, so 'tis the season. So it's like, for us, it's like June and November, and so it's really like May and June, October and November are like the real crunch periods. Sometimes even a little bit longer than that. So we're just trying to get everything wrapped up and ready to go. So it's difficult because you're like stressed out and trying to get those things done, and then you come you're done with it, and then to sit here and do some more coding on the side, it's a difficult prospect. Brain is a little bit burned out. So I haven't really looked at any of this since we last were here on Saturday. And I didn't really express this on Saturday, but I kind of want to just say this because I think it's helpful for people to, other developers and whatnot, if you like stumble upon this VOD or something like that. Saturday I wasn't really feeling it. I was getting to the point where I was just sort of frustrated, and it wasn't. I was frustrated because there was a lot of steps I had to do to kind of get this thing working the way, like with this client secret and stuff. Because the client secret, I was already frustrated the client secret didn't work the way I wanted to work. And now I'm kind of punting and doing it the way that the Spring maintainers want it to be done, whether it's for better or worse. And there's and I'm trying to wire it up the same way as like the password stuff that I already had, and there's some frustrations that kind of build up there. I mean, one is obviously I'm doing it in a way that I don't want to do it, but I have to do it in order to just keep it sane. Two, this widget here that I've made, the framework that I'm using, the Thymely framework, doesn't seem like it really gives you a way to make these reusable widgets, right? Sure, they say like, oh, you can make fragments, and then you just pull these fragments in. But fragments are not, by definition, widgets in my brain, right? In my brain, a widget is, I can call it almost a black box. I can put this thing on the page, and I can call it with the appropriate variables needed for that particular page. Give it those particular variables, and it will just do its thing, right? Not really what a fragment does. A fragment is just an include, right? So you're including a fragment of code that is that has all these variables in it that are inappropriately named for what you're trying to do, or just plain inappropriate for what you're trying to do on this next page. So you're not really making something reusable. You're just kind of putting it into another file and hoping that that's good enough. And it's really not. Now at the day job, we use Velocity, and Velocity has actual widget ability because you can make macros, what it calls Velocity macros, right? And those macros live in a file. You can then call them those macros with variables, and then those variables become, it's basically just a big function inside that, and then it can, then you truly have components then, you know, and it for a situation like this, I would make one of these a macro, and I would just give it all the variables I need for this particular page, for it to work on this particular page, and boom, we're done, right? Instead, I'm re-implementing all the nuance and stupidness of it, you know what I mean? Just to get it for this page, so it makes sense for this page, you know. And it's so, you know, annoyed by that, right? And then you also get into this state where you simply cannot dip into the zone, quote unquote, right? It's not so much like when I'm doing a live stream like this, I'm not really getting into the zone because I'm trying to stay lucid enough that I, you know, if people come in and ask questions and whatnot, you know, I'm still being relatively responsive to chat, or even for that matter, relatively, I guess, entertaining. You know, I'm narrating what I'm doing. I'm not so focused that I've now gone silent, that kind of thing. So it behooves me to be able to kind of dip into the focus mode where I'm like, okay, I can get like 10 good lines of code written right now, and then dip out, and then dip in and go, I can get 10 more good lines of code written, and dip out, you know. And on Saturday, it was just, I was getting code written, but it was not, I felt like it wasn't, I was getting progressively angry, I guess, with the code that I was writing, and not feeling like I'm kind of striking the balance that I kind of wanted to strike, and when I do these things, you know. So that was why I kind of ended the stream fairly early and just kind of was like, you know what, I need to just relax. And you know, a lot of that too is, it comes down to being busy at work during the day, and just kind of having a lot of stuff on my mind, and a lot, like I have one, there's always one Jira ticket that's just like, it's a new feature and it's going, you know, you got like 3 weeks left, and it's like, you know, it's just not enough time. You know, you're going to be just completely destroying your brain cells while trying to conquer the problem. And there's always one every release, and I've got one. And so, you know, I had that kind of burrowing at the base of my skull while doing all this other stuff. So all that kind of combines to make something that's just almost kick up like a fog of war in your brain, right? You know, things that you should be able to do very easily are suddenly very difficult. You know, you feel scatterbrained. There's, you know, even in like the day-to-day, you know, day job stuff, like there are occasions when I do a feature, when I get a feature or a bug fixed or whatever, and all along the way, you know, I'm doing all the steps, I'm going through all the motions, and all along the way, I feel like something's not right. You know, I mean, you get that, you know, you always figure there's going to be some bug, but in this case, you feel like you've completely forgotten something, or you feel like you get that feeling like you've missed something, or you're not being as careful with it as you want to be, because and it's not because you don't want to be careful with it, it's because your brain is just not permitting you the focus to do it. Like a good example of that, I was wrapping up a feature, and just this week, actually, a couple days ago, and part of that feature, it had to update some records in the database, and I wrote out the update statement, as I've written thousands of times at this point, and buttoned up all the code, all the Java code, got all the pathways in, and then I ran it, and like, oh, okay, it seemed to work. And then I go and look at the database, and you have that realization of, oh yeah, no, it worked a little too well. Because I've written thousands of update statements in my career, and this one I just neglected to put a where clause on, and so it just updated every single record in the database instead of just the one tiny one that I wanted in that database table. Now, luckily, it's you know, it's a dev environment, so no one really cares all that much. But it's still a setback, and it's still a pain in the ass, and it still eats at you, right? Because you're just like, it was so stupid. Like, why did my brain not permit me the sight to see that I had not quite finished it? Like, because I went through and did all the steps in there, and yet for some reason I had just that. You just have that brain fart where it's just like, you did one of the steps, but you didn't do it completely. You didn't realize you didn't do it completely. You just kind of stopped at some point, and then just kept on going. It's like you know, a vinyl record playing in your brain, and suddenly it just skips. You know, you skipped a part of the song, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. So that was that's been my week. And then I was getting kind of that same feeling with doing this, like getting this client secret stuff together. Like, I know that there's parts of this I haven't finished yet, but I've gone through like most of the motions. I've copy pasted out the wazoo, and I still know that I've missed things. And that starts to eat at you. Like, it's annoying to like an extreme, you know? Because you know all you really need to do is just like relax and try to focus a little bit, but it's not happening. It's not happening. So yeah, I kind of wanted to express some of that, because that is how I've felt. Oh good, all these are exited. Alright, let's bounce Docker. I said let's bounce Docker. I had a feeling This is why I need to remember to always quit Docker when I'm done for a day, because it gets in this state after it's been hibernating for a little bit. It gets into a state where it just is not responding to anything. PSTF. Docker desktop. Maybe this one. Living here. Just force kill it. There we go. That is better. Look at all this other stuff. Enable crash reporter. Anyway. Build that nice and good. So now I should be able to do this. There we go. We'll stop these. Just let the database run. Bring up Eclipse, and we'll get Data Studio up here as well, friends, and we'll see if we can figure out what state I left this in, because I'm not quite sure what state I left it in. Apparently I was doing the JavaScript here. Applications add form, I mean. Zero complexity method. Right, secret button. Right, secret report. I think I've got everything in here. I may not have everything in here though. Applications add form. The update secret. Where the hell is the applications add form? Here it is. Add form. Okay. Okay. So, was I ready to start testing this? I guess I can fire it up and see what problems it has. That would be the best way to figure out where we're at with it. Warnings. All right. So, couple things I want to kind of look at. All right, so we got user 1.
Gordon Freeman saved my life.
I'll put remember me on here. All right, so register new. All right, so that's not wired up actually yet. That button's not wired up yet. Oh, we got 2 elements with a non-unique ID. Lightning. Oh yeah. Redirect URIs as the client name as the ID. I never changed that. Well, I'm glad it told me about that. Redirect URIs. That was a copy paste. No think. Yeah, here it is. Right name. Redirect URIs. Hopefully that was the only one there. So that. Push this. Alright, so far so good there. Okay, so do I not have this? I'm just wired up. Generate client secret button. The generate client secret button should do something here. Yeah, generate client secret button. Call password generator service. Okay. Oh, did I not initialize the popover? Oh, here it is. I initialized it. Okay. So not it, right? That'd be it. Applications JS. Oh, am I'm not pulling in applications.js, maybe? On new here. Down for a second. Yeah, I'm not pulling that in. Yes. Just applications. Yes, that where it's at. Yes, developer applications new. Yes, developer applications. There we go. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, there's two things I want to look into that may or may not be well for this project. One of them is HTMX, and I think I've mentioned this before. If HTMX can remove like some of my repeated JavaScript, that would be fantastic, and just keep it on the page. Beyond that, it also has WebSocket support on it, and one of the next things I want to do is start looking at the chat, because the chat will get me into doing WebSockets and then figuring out like where those, like how to get WebSockets set up in Spring and all that stuff, and then how that's going to look and what that channel is going to look like, so I can kind of gauge how, because chat has to, obviously has to have a back and forth, but it also has to have like controls, quote unquote, on it, where I guess it's more like events. So like an event fires off like subscription, follow, whatever. You want those to be able to potentially be able to show up in chat. So by tackling chat, at least I'll be able to kind of see, like what kind of pattern will work out for that kind of thing, because I'm going to need a subset of that for the actual streaming pages, because we're going to need like a WebSocket that is like the controller socket. I guess the event socket maybe is a better word for it. That will say like the live stream started, live stream ended. I guess another one would be potentially you're having internet issues or something. Like the stream is not stable or whatever. Or even so much as like, being able to swap automatically between 1080p and 720p and whatnot, depending on what kind of packet loss you're getting and all that stuff. Although I think some of that, like I'm thinking of using Video.js or Video Player.js for the actual video player itself, because pretty much out of the box you get everything you really need for the most part out of that, from what I've seen. So it might have some hooks for a few of those things anyway, but I'll have to see. I need to make sure though that supports Chromecast. I think it does, or at least has a way to link into it. That's another thing I want to be able to support at some point. That's down the road though. But just like tackling chat and all the things that chat has to do, and all the commands back and forth, and also like alerting the user when the chat is no longer connected, I think is a very important thing. It's something that I'm not sure if Twitch has something like it. But it's something that has been desperately needed on so many sites that I've seen spin up. A lot of times you don't, like, people could be chatting, there could be chat messages going by, and your chat window lost connection at some point to the server and hasn't recovered, and you have no idea, right, that there's stuff going on and you're not seeing anything. So it would be really nice to have like a heartbeat ping that goes on from the chat to say like, hey, I haven't heard from the server in like 2 minutes or something. You may want to refresh or something like that, or something to that effect. I think would be very important, because and this is what kind of this is what bugs me a little bit about well, it's bugged me about Kick, obviously, but it's bugged me a little bit more about Livespace, because it looks like they're using an off-the-shelf chat library, and that's going to come back to bite them in the ass, right? Like, you really need to roll your own, because the ones that are off the shelf are usually things for other purposes. They don't have the same purpose as what you need for a streaming service. And by that I mean the requirements for like website help are very different from the requirements from, say, Discord or something, or something similar to that, right? The streaming service stuff is so much more important, because the chat is the only window in many cases that the only mechanism for viewers to actually interact with the streamer, right? I mean, sure, you can have interactive buttons and stuff like that, but you still, like, chat is still like the linchpin of that formula. And to have like on Kick have, which I think they just said they fixed, but have messages just get eaten up and not sent. On Livespace, to have the chat just silently fail and disconnect. Things like that are just absolutely devastating, right? Because that is the primary mechanism through which you connect with your audience. Even Lurk, like it's the same thing. They may not be using chat, but they're definitely monitoring chat from time to time. They're definitely looking to see if anything is going down, even if they're just kind of only glancing at it from time to time. And so many things trigger off of that, and I think that's the I think that's the one thing that a lot of the Twitch competitor sites, which is basically everybody who isn't Twitch, I think that's the thing that they just kind of get wrong. Even YouTube gets it wrong. Like the YouTube chat feels cobbled together, much like the live streaming part of YouTube feels cobbled together. It feels like a bolt-on top of what was already there. And it doesn't, they don't really give you, they you know, they have, you know, for if you're partnered, you know, you do have like, you know, elevated chat messages and stuff like that. I forget what they call it, but you know, when you pay money and you know, your chat message gets pinged at the top and all that stuff. They have some interaction there. They don't have nearly enough, right? Hey, Just T, welcome. And so it's very, like, it feels very important to kind of get the chat stuff right. And that means to me, when I'm thinking about what I have to do for chat stuff, that means basically having a bunch of events, you know, not only events, but also like a bunch of integration. You know, I did a Giphy, was it Giphy? I think was the integration I did, something like that. For Glimish and stuff, and like just even having that ability opens up a whole lot more interaction. It makes people feel better about their interactions. You know, being able to reply directly to people, being able to see events as they go off. I mean, as much as everybody calls them scam trains on Twitch, like even the hype trains on Twitch are just another spectacle that keeps the chat kind of lively, right? Animated gifts, you know, badges, commands to an extent. I'm not sure. Commands are a means to an end. Commands are a means to affect the streamer more than anything else, right? So I can kind of separate those and say, like, if you had buttons on the stream, that would be a better treatment for a lot of those than having them in chat, because it kind of just muddies chat with like command outputs, right, that don't have to be there. Like I see a lot of streamers who have like if they're getting asked the same question often enough, they'll put a command together that answers that question, and they'll just say, you know, type exclamation point, you know, blah blah blah, and or they'll put it in their title or whatever, and even though that's, you know, fine and dandy, it saves the streamer from repeating themselves, it saves others from having to hear the same explanation twice. It does kind of fog up the chat of it, right? You know, it kind of interrupts any conversations going on and all that stuff. And it would be nice if that kind of thing was like a button under the stream that you click on and only you see the output of it, right? Or if it's in the title, you click on it in the title and boom, it pops up a little pop-up with the actual explanation. And you don't have to like pollute chat with that kind of thing. So long story short, there's going to be a lot of, like, I want to tackle chat next after this, because I want to try to figure out what all that command pathway is back and forth. Because I think if I can figure that out, then everything else around that, the interactive pieces and all that stuff, kind of start to fit into the puzzle, you know, in a certain way. Then, and I want to look at HTMX and see what that gives me in terms of that kind of thing. The other thing too that I was looking at, and I don't know how this one, I'm not sure how this works. I've heard it before and I just don't know how it works. It's called Figma Collaborative Interface Design. And what I don't understand about this. Like, I understand the collaboration of the interface design and stuff like that. I understand an interface designer. But apparently this is... like, there's some kind of hooks here or something that allow you to read these into your application? Question mark. Because you can, like, define local variables and stuff. And that's the part that kind of intrigues me, because one of the things I want to do, I mean, it's clear as day that I am not a UI designer or developer by any stretch of imagination. All right, this is about as very basic a UI as you can even get away with. Right. I also don't really necessarily like designing UI. But if this whole Figma thing is, if there's a way I can hook into that and then allow others to kind of collaborate on the design and be able to move things around and have them work and call the back end correctly and like have an actual working website while there's things are moving around and stuff, that would be kind of interesting. I don't know if that's what this is doing or not. It kind of seems like a part of it's doing that, but I can't really, I haven't been able to like really understand what they're going for here. And there's this education, where's the documentation? What I really want. Like, I would love to be able to just look at the documentation. There is and there's a free version. It's like 3 files, which I have unlimited personal files, and I don't know what that really means. Really at all. I don't know if that's just three pages, or if there's multiple pages in a file. I have no clue. Use Penpot for designing stuff. It's free and open source alternative to Figma. Okay, so let's go Penpot. But does this work kind of the same way? So there's a self-code feature. Reusable components, flex layout, font layout, transitions, flows. So it generates code, okay, that's fine, but like I don't, that's where I'm struggling. I'm not sure how exactly these fit in. Because my ultimate thing, I guess I'll just have to play around with it to see, but my ultimate thing is I would like to provide a way where I can wire up the back end to the front end pieces, and then have the front end pieces be manipulatable like this. Like you can move them around, reskin them, do whatever you want, and still have them, and kind of have it where like that stuff could be designed by someone who actually knows how to design stuff. without them needing to necessarily know, like all the like the Java stuff, or even the JavaScript for that matter. Like just having, like being able to move things around and having it still just kind of work. That kind of thing. Because that would then make it so that, you know, this whole project's open source. That would make it so that anybody could pop in theory with this and just kind of skin it the way they feel like they want it, you know. And not just for not just for contributing back either. It could be that way. Just like if someone wants to take the code and run their own site, they could just plug this in, skin it the way they want to, use their own assets, and not have to, you know, not have to contribute anything back to the original source code. They're just doing their own thing on their own fork somewhere, you know? They have a desktop app planned. Is that the self-host? Okay. Okay, this is fine. I mean, even just the Docker one is fine for now. So I can just grab that. I'll have to play around with this because I don't know. Again, I'm not having not used any of these before. I don't know exactly how they fit in to the final product, or if they even do. Like, I'm not. So, you know, I come from the era of WYSIWYG editors, right? So back in the day when I was a webmaster, you know, in college, we had just WYSIWYG editor, and they would just generate the HTML, and that was that. And I'm not really looking for that. I'm looking for something that's a little more sophisticated, that, you know, understands that these pages are, because, you know, WYSIWYG editor is good when you have a static page. But these are dynamic pages. I want to make sure this understands how to deal with dynamic pages, you know, with pages that have variables on them and all this other stuff, you know. So that's kind of the thing. But I guess I could just download it and play around it and see what it does. And why does everybody hide their documentation? I can only ask a question. I wish they had like a guided tour thing. It doesn't require a login. All right. Again, I'll keep this in mind. I'll keep this on the list. Maybe I can install it with Docker and see what's going on with that. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Because I think that would be the ultimate thing then, right? Because then I can just say, you don't like the way it looks, get it yourself. You know. And right now, it's not the easiest to change because you'd have to learn Slime Leaf, which in and of itself is a pain in the ass. And then I'm also, I'm using Bootstrap, so it's got all the Bootstrap variables that you have to A, find, and then B, change. Which is not fun. I wonder if does this understand Bootstrap? You love to replace your software open source alternatives? Yeah. Yeah. No component. That's good. Find awesome icons and Bootstrap icons. Okay. The Tailwind kit. I mean, you know what? If this writes all the Tailwind bullshit, I might put Tailwind back in there again. I have no idea. Bootstrap Studio? What the hell is Bootstrap Studio? $29? Basically a WYSIWYG, isn't it? That's what it looks like. It's giving you options there. That's not what I'm looking for. Definitely not. Interesting. Interesting. Alright. Well, let's see what we got here. So, added that JS file there. Application. Okay, so I have this in. Let's see what we get here. We also change our station here too, I think, so we don't get too many repeats. At least not yet, anyway. Let's just chill. Let's chill radio. Actually, you know what? They have lo-fi, right? Epic, folk, punk. Yeah, here we go. Lo-fi. Let's let that run for a little bit. See what we get out of it. There we go. Bring it back up again. Template factory. Option entry provide type object by selecting type. Let's use this as so call password generator service. This here. Okay. Up over. Oh. Is that where we're running into the issue? Yeah. Option entry provided type object but expected string. Hey, Outlaw. Welcome. How are you, sir? How you doing? So there was I think one of the options I'm giving it not happy about. Let's try that again. What is HTML here? Data list. Oh, I think I know what's going on. HTML equals data list. Oh. Okay, I know what's happening. I'm giving it the wrong stuff. On the other side, I'm giving it Java, or I'm giving it whatchamacallit. Data constant data. Got to watch a movie. Cool. I'm doing good. It's been a week. It's been a long week. I as I was saying earlier in the stream, it's been like we do software releases twice a year. So May and June and October and November tend to be the crunch time at work, and it seems like every time, like we're right up to the wire getting stuff done. So I have a project at work that is like, we got like 3 weeks left or so, to do it, and it's a big one. And I'm like, this is going to be, this is one of those things where under normal circumstances, you'd be like, yeah, no, I need more time. But, you're just not going to get it. So it's just like, all right, well, I guess we just got to grind out something and hope that it's good enough. So I got that going on at the day job, and then trying to at nighttime kind of do some coding. It's rough. It's rough trying to do, as I said, trying to dip in and out of focus. Because I'm streaming, so I want to be entertaining, and I want to be responsive to chat. But I want to be able to dip a little bit into focus to get like a couple of lines done, and then dip back out and dip back in, dip back out, and that's kind of I was struggling on Saturday with it. Tonight it's not so bad, but Saturday I was like really struggling to the point where I was like, I only did like a 3-hour stream, and I was done. So it's just one of those things where, and it's weird because as I get older, it's like everything's about focus, right? It's about being able to get into the zone, like when you're at your day job. And the older I get, the less zone I seem to be able to dip into. How many people am I working with? So there's only 4 developers. We have our group within the larger company is about 20 people. But there's just 4 developers, and it's a pretty big application. It's got about, I think it has like almost 500,000 lines of code in it. And it does a lot. It's chemical management stuff. So we gotta tell people, hey, you gotta have you have to say, this room contains hazardous chemicals, and here's what hazards they have. If there's a fire, you need to be able to alert, have alerts that they can be printed out or to put on the wall to say like, hey, don't use your normal firefighting equipment, use this different type of foam, or else you'll cause a explosion, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it's a lot. So it's cool stuff, but at the same time, there's a lot of function, a lot of features under the covers. It's very, very changeable. There's a lot of options for changing things around, and a lot of reports and all kinds of things, and it's fun to do. I enjoy it. It's just, and we're only doing our little area. We're kind of blessed in that nobody kind of bothers us, so we do like 2 releases a year, 2 major releases a year. The rest of the company does 4 major releases a year, which I don't know. It's no wonder they're struggling with quality, is what I would say to that. Whereas our little group, it's just the 4 of us. We can do what we need to do. We collaborate and we communicate, and we're able to just kind of get things done. But it's also like there's also the problem of just it's really important that your product owners get stuff lined up for you for the next release before you start that release, because then it gives you the full 3 months or whatever to really work things out, because everything, things that come down all need to be massaged and need to be, they need to go through the process and need to make sure that that you can actually do what you're trying to do and that it makes sense, and did we catch all the edge cases and all that stuff. unfortunately, what we're often doing is the release has already started. The release cycle has already started, and we're like 2 months in, and now we're finally getting like the final picture of what we're trying to do, you know. And so oftentimes it just ends up being like there's just so much to do. We're all just kind of, the bus is racing down the road and we're all just kind of chasing after it and trying to change the tires on it while it's racing down the road, you know. But it's nowhere near as stressful as I've been in. Like, I've been in other companies that have been super more stressed. This has been really good with that. I mean, I've been in companies where crunch time never ended. Like, literally every week was crunch time. They just never, they never let up. And this one, to only have it twice a year for a couple weeks is actually bliss. Believe it or not. You know. But that comes with the territory, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. I like to say, what I used to say to the youngins that I would interview and try to hire and would hire on and everything like that and mentor, is I'd say there's good stress and there's bad stress. The good stress, having a deadline in and of itself is not necessarily bad stress. It's kind of good to have a deadline, because that's actually a matter of good stress, because it means that stuff gets done. You don't just keep putting it off, right? It only becomes bad stress when you don't have all the requirements you need, or you don't understand all the aspects of it, and you still have a deadline. And that deadline is looming. That's when it turns into the bad stress. That's why I kind of like, that's one of the nice things about this is I don't have any real deadlines. So I can kind of take my time and do things, but at the same time, it also means that I'm not making quite as much progress as I would like to do, but I'm also not stressed out about it. So it's kind of a give and take, with the streaming site stuff that I'm working on here, at least. Oh yeah, this is bringing. Oh, I misunderstood what this is bringing back. Okay. So this is really... This is... Wait a minute. No, this should be bringing back HTML, shouldn't I? For the content HTML. Oh, this is the generate. Yeah, no, this should be bringing back HTML stuff. What URL is it? Regenerate secret. That means it's coming into here. Oh yeah, no, this should be... this should be... So regenerate, so no, this should be calling generate script, because this is returning HTML. So I got that wrong on here somewhere. Yeah, this should just be generate. Then the regenerate is called by the regenerate button, which only brings back yes, not everything. So change that, and then if I bounce this, let's do it. Fresh new application here. Oh, all right. So we got another problem. Server responded with a status of 500. Okay, well, it did something. What did it do? Doesn't like the templates. Tried to parse something and didn't like it. What did it try to parse? Error happened during template parsing minimal HTML. Oh, could not open source. Generate client secret pop. Oh, views, developer, generate client secret pop. Why can't you find that? Did I put it in the wrong spot? Is that what's going on here? Use developer. I don't even have the. What happened there? I don't even have the. Oh, I must have copy pasted them. Secret, because I called it applications change secret. So I must have. Aha. Yeah, okay. Applications change secret. Wait, why do I have that there? No, it can't be change secret. Change secret's something else. Did I not copy this over? Generate client secret popover. I didn't. Where is the other thing at? So I understand. I used to work for an insurance company and it was not good stress. Yeah. I worked in insurance too. I worked as a developer. That was my first job as a developer, was doing insurance policy administration software. And I learned a lot. We started out as like a really tiny company, like out of a house. And there was maybe a half dozen of us or so, or a dozen. And then we grew to like 400 people over the course of 5 years. I got to see that company go from something tiny to something like organized and well-oiled and all that stuff. And it was, I learned a lot kind of sticking with that, because it was just, you see both sides of it. You see like the small side of it, and you see the large side of it. You see the small side of it where you're having to deal with personalities you don't necessarily want to deal with, namely the uppity ups. And then you get to the large side of it where you're not dealing with the uppity ups so much anymore. But you've found you've grown with the company. You've been promoted along the way, and you're kind of mentoring and doing a lot of different things. Did underwriting for policies. Okay. Yeah, we had to, we would work with the actuaries at a company, because they, like, basically what we did was we gave them XML and said, you could do all your formulas in this and we'll run it against the policy data, and we'll run that every night. And so they would just come up with these crazy formulas, and they could just manage it themselves, and we didn't have to deal with it as developers. which is kind of nice. It was very, there was a lot of numbers involved, but it was interesting to watch an insurance policy like go through its life cycle. Oh, it's going into payout now, and it's going, oh, it went into a death benefit, or it reversed it back, and now it went out of death benefit and back to the way it was. We had to make sure that everything could go backwards in time and still have accurate numbers and everything. It was an interesting setup. It was interesting stuff. And then I went into, I left there after 5 years because I had the 5-year itch, and went to e-commerce, and that was a beast in and of itself. Worked on some of the back end of like NFL Shop and Toys R Us back when Toys R Us was still a thing. Dick's Sporting Goods, things like that. Worked on the back ends of that, and a little bit. I didn't really do the front end because we had UI guys that did it, but I, worked on a lot of the back end stuff there. Anybody who couldn't put saucy stuff on their custom uniforms, they could blame me for that, because I had to write had to improve the code on that so that they, certain things couldn't get printed on the jerseys. There was that. And I did healthcare for a little bit. Very little bit. It was a very short stint, like a year or two. E-commerce was like 3 years, and then I just burned out of that. That was rough. I feel for anyone who works for Amazon. Oof. Like, there is no good job at Amazon. Whether you're a driver or a warehouse person, or you're an office person doing coding, it's terrible all through the ranks there. So I feel for them. And then kind of scientific stuff now, little scientific stuff, chemical management stuff now. So a couple different industries. Right, it does. It really, really does. I did not work for Amazon. I worked for a company that was the little brother of Amazon, basically. I mean, they if they could have been Amazon, they would have been. They had all the same problems. Like they had warehouses, just like Amazon had warehouses. And they had pickers that would run around constantly all day long, doing stuff. In fact, there's an Undercover Boss episode that shows the company that I worked for in the headquarters, not in the warehouses. And they were just kind of. It was a thing, man. It was a like even in the headquarters, you think in headquarters as a developer, it wouldn't be that bad, but there were points where it was just like the culture there was just toxic. Like the people I worked with were fantastic. I love every person I worked with there, but the corporate structure, like when you go up the chain, the further up the chain you went, the more toxic it just got. It was terrible. And there were other, like, all the developer staff was good and cool with everybody, and the UI those were all cool with everybody. But then you go into IT, and it was like just hostility in the IT area, and it was all due to like the history of what had happened at the company. But it was, well before I had ever got there. But it was so draining and straining, and that was the company where myself and another developer, we were tasked with debugging something that had gone wrong, and we were up all night literally working on it at the office. And at one point, and our project manager was on the phone with us. They were home. She was home and she was on the phone with us because her managers up above wanted status reports every hour or something, which is that's just the ridiculous toxicity of that place. Like, why don't you just let me do my job and I'll let you know when I'm done? You don't need a status report. You don't need to know I'm compiling again. And that was the one where we were sitting there. We're just, we're trying to figure out what's going on and trying to get some stuff done that was broken. I don't think we actually broke it. Somebody else broke it. And we were just kind of on the hook to just deal with it. And we're just sitting there and it was like, I want to say like 3 a.m. or something. And all of a sudden we hear on the phone snoring. And we're just sitting there on this conference call, and our brave, illustrious project manager is sound asleep, snoring on the phone while we're up and awake trying to get things done. It was just hilarious. We just looked at each other. We muted the conference phone, and we just looked at each other. We're like, "Are you serious right now?" We're like, "Are you serious right now?" Oh, that was hilarious. I can laugh about it now. Back then, it was the height of annoying, but that was not nearly as bad as some of the other things that project manager pulled. Like that, she was infamous for coming to me at like, did I call her on? No, we didn't call her on it. We're just like, you know what? It's not worth the fight. She was infamous for coming to me at like 4 o'clock on a Friday and saying, "Oh, we really need this thing done by Monday." And so I would work on it over the weekend. And then, unfortunately, because there was this hostility between IT and the developers, the databases were all locked down to a point where I couldn't like create new stuff in the database without a blessing from IT. So I got as far as I could. And then I came in Monday and I was like, all right, well, this is as far as I could get. I couldn't get any further. There was no DBAs on call or anything like that. And she'd go, "Oh, that's fine. We don't need it for another 3 weeks." And she did that to me not once, not twice, at least half a dozen times. And stupid me for falling for it every time. But, it got to a point where I was just like, I'm putting in all this extra time that I don't need to put in, and I'm like basically living at the office, and it was just, that was what contributed to me just burning out entirely from all that stuff. It was just like, it was bad. People, I've said this a couple times, people don't realize that burnout actually has a physical manifestation. Like I had a cold that wouldn't go away for months. Like a head cold. And then I got back home the one day after pulling, I think 36 or 32 or 36 hours straight. I think it was 32 hours straight I did. And I left early that day. I was like, I told my boss, I'm like, I'm done. I need to go home and go to bed. I haven't slept in like 30 hours. And I came home here and I crashed into bed, and like within 2 hours of falling asleep, I was up gasping for air. I had I was so out of it, I had stopped breathing. And I woke up in a panic, just like, like you feel like you've been underwater for way too long. and you finally get to the surface and it's like, ugh, you know, your body's shocked kind of thing. That was that was me. I'm like, and I'm just sitting on the, and I'm still tired and everything. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed. I'm like, what the frig am I doing to myself? Like, what am I doing? And that was the moment that I was like, all right, I'm getting my resume together and we're gonna see what we can do. And then I did get it together, and then they changed some things at work. Like they changed like who I was reporting to, and I had a team and everything else. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll give it a few more months. And I gave it a few more months, and then I was like, nope, time to go. And nothing really changed. So that was just that's the way that particular cookie crumbles. You know, but it's nothing short of a miracle that I still enjoy everything that I do here. You know, I could say that the burnout did take a lot of the luster away from it. Like I don't enjoy coding quite as much as I used to, as I did before the burnout. It always does enact some kind of strife, but I still enjoy it enough that it's you know what I live for. It's what I enjoy the most of everything. But it also taught me to, like, the big lesson I got from that was get a damn hobby. And that's when I started thinking about, I didn't start YouTube then. It took me a couple more years to kind of get the hardware together and everything to actually start YouTube. But I started doing YouTube videos then. I'd have a hobby. And then a couple years after that, I started doing live streaming. Not necessarily for the hobby of it, although I enjoy the hobby of it, but just because I found myself at a point where I was losing the ability to communicate well. Not that I'm communicating well now, but it's like I've told the story where I had a week off from work, and I literally didn't talk to anybody for the entire week. I didn't use my voice at all the entire week. And I came back to work, and I was sitting in our morning meeting. And I was giving my status, which wasn't much. I was giving my status, and literally the people sitting next to me couldn't hear or understand what I was saying. My voice was so weak from it, and it scared the crap out of me. I was like, all right, well, let's see if I can find something that allows me to, like, keep the old pipes working, even if I, you know, don't have much important things to say. I can at least kind of keep them warmed up and not lose the ability to completely to communicate. So there was that. Developer now. Where is this thing? Oh, here it is. Copy that. I hate that I have to make like a duplicate of something that already exists. I want to make widgets. This is what I'm reduced to here. Rename that. That. There we go. I know, that's the thing, right? It's like, it is scary because it's like one of the important things. You wouldn't think it's that important, you know, because I sit in front of a computer all day typing code, but it's very important to be able to communicate what you're working on and what you're doing and what your thoughts are and what, you know, because especially when you're in a small team like I am, where there's only 4 developers, it's very important for us to speak up and be like, hey, that's not going to work well that way, the way you want to do that. Or, hey, what about this contingency here? What happens in this edge case? It's important to be able to raise the red flag. It's also important to be able to communicate better ways of doing things. A lot of times designers and stuff get caught in doing the same thing over and over again when there's potentially a better way of doing it, like a better way of visualizing what they're trying to do, or trying to get to the heart of the matter. Sometimes you make things more complicated than they need to be, and you need someone like a dev to be like, hey, what if we did it this way? Wouldn't it'd be easier for me to code, and it'd probably be easier for, the users to grok what's going on. And so, and all that requires, well, A, it requires, the courage to do it, and B, it requires, to be able to communicate. It's one of the hardest things that we have when we try to hire people, is so many devs that come in don't communicate. They just they're just workhorses, right? You give them a task and they just do it. They don't question it. They don't try to understand why they're doing it. They're just, cogs in the machine, right? They're warm bodies to throw at a problem. And it's very hard to find devs who go beyond that, who are like, no, I want to understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I want to contribute, my own thoughts to this. I want this to be as good as I can make it. I want this to be as good as, multiple people can make it. I want to collaborate with other people and, come up with the best solution we can all come up with. And it's so hard to find that. It's very, very hard, believe it or not, to find that. Because there's just so many people who work at Microsoft, or they work at Amazon, or they work at these, IBM, or these big, multinational corporations. And, I'll sit them down in an interview and I'll ask them, like, so what did you work on? And they'll say, oh, I worked on this. I worked on widget X. And I go, okay, so where does widget X fit into the larger code base? Like, what does widget X enable the application to do better, and why does widget X exist? And they can't answer it. Their answer is their boss told them to do widget X, so they did widget X. I said, well, okay, was widget X the best way to do it? How do you know widget Y wasn't a better way to do it? Or, how do you know there wasn't already a solution somewhere else in the system that was very close to what you needed, and maybe you just needed to repurpose that? A boss told me to do this, so I did it. There's so many of them. There's so many in the industry. It's maddening sometimes, because that kind of person unfortunately, is very competent at a big job, at a big corporation. But as soon as they try to go to a smaller company where there's a lot more responsibility, they can't function. And it's incredible to see. But then again, there's a lot of people who don't want to work at small companies. They want to work at a big multinational because they feel like there's more stability there, or that they have more support there. And like, okay, that's great, but you end up hurting yourself in the long run, because you're not learning the skills you need to learn to really be independent. Me, I don't mind bopping between two. I work at a medium-sized company but our group is very tiny. It's like it's almost like a startup, and we're kind of independent, a little slightly, you know. But we have the deep pockets of the parent company, so it's like a best of both worlds there, you know. But anywho, that's my story. One of many stories. So I want this to be generated. Secrets. I call this something else. Copy to clipboard. Yeah, copy client secret to clipboard. Generate client secret, regenerate client secret. Regenerate client secrets. Make sure these match up. Copy to copy client secret. Clipboard button. Copy clipboard. Regenerate client secrets. And then this has to go to that other thing. This goes here. Applications. Regenerate secret. Actually, / developer / applications. Applications. Regenerate secret. Okay. Save that. Where's my message drop? Move that here. Get better. You know what? We'll see. Rate it. This here. Copy clipboard should be fine. Regenerate client secret. One here. There. Alright, so save that. This. Let's see what we got over here. Well, that and applications, register new. Okay. So the pop-up is happening, but it's not showing the actual secret. That's fine. Because I'm not setting it probably to the correct thing here. What is the... No, what's it being said here? Generated... Oh, generate secret. What's instead? So I need to call this generate secret. And then we got the regenerate secret. And then do I have, there's gotta be, well, the JavaScript is over here. The regenerate client secret is down here. Generate client secret response data. Yeah, here we go. Generate client secret, is it going to? Generate client secret. Okay, good. The client secret to clipboard button, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so that should now be lining up properly. Aha! There is the password to generate it. Copy clipboard. Looks like it maybe worked. Go and test it. 1NDSE%P bar. Yeah, that looks close enough. Alright, so if I regenerate a couple times here. There we go. Copy this. RE6GWI. RCE6GWI RB1. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that is now working properly. That's good. Fortunately, I still haven't figured out how to. Pop-up is not. I guess I could. No, that's right. I left the pop-up open so you can see it, and then you have to click this again to make it go away. That's probably fine. Okay. Big ass companies take over, it loses the effective support from people like employees. You feel like a lemming and unemployed. Yeah, it's the other problem with the big companies too. Like that first company, the insurance company that I worked for, the insurance software company that I worked for, they were bought. One of the reasons why I left after 5 years also is because they were bought by Oracle. And the first thing Oracle did when they came in was they took away all the perks because they, any big company that comes in, they have a playbook. And one of the things in their playbook is remove as many employee perks as you can, so that you get a lot of people to just leave of their own volition, because they really want to cut their costs, but they don't want to lay people off because it looks bad when you lay people off. But if people leave of their own volition, then it's not so bad. So they just cut other things like perks and stuff, and then they let people leave that way under their own power because it doesn't look suspicious. And then the other thing they did was Oracle is one of those companies that has not invented here syndrome. So they said, okay, all these libraries that you guys are using that you selected because they were the best libraries around, well, no, you can't use those anymore. You gotta use these internal things that one of our guys cooked up. And you gotta rip all these out, and you gotta use these other things that are kind of wonky and don't quite work right, but they were designed in-house. You can't use these external things that are well maintained by the community and well respected. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm like, we went through weeks of selecting the best libraries for the job, and we've built up knowledge of these libraries. We know their ins and outs. We know the performance applications of certain things. And now you're coming in and saying, nope, throw all that out and use this random thing that some intern wrote some underpaid intern wrote, because we completely own the IP of it. Like, no thanks. That was me piecing out there for that one. That was the bridge too far. Of course, I mean, I was also at that point. That was the first company I worked for. I started there as a junior developer, making actually a pitiful amount for even for that time. I was making 30 grand as a junior developer. And then 5 years later, I had moved all the way up to architect, Java architect. So I went through like developer, senior developer, all that stuff. And so when I left there, I was making 95K a year, which is more in line today with a senior. Well, I guess it's the low end of a senior developer at this point, or a senior, as depending on what the company calls them. Either a company calls them developers, or they call them engineers. 95K is like the low end of a senior engineer, at least on the East Coast. In California, I think it's Silicon Valley. It's like probably 195,000 there, probably low end. But then again, the cost of living there is so insane that they might as well be getting 40 grand. Because that's about all they're getting, the equivalent of like 40 grand, because of just how much it costs just to do anything out there. It's a completely different culture too. Like the previous company that I worked for was based in San Jose. Like so the whole engineering staff was in Philadelphia, here on the East Coast. The Philadelphia suburbs here on the East Coast. And then the rest of the company, like the marketing and the uppity ups and all that stuff, were out in San Jose. And so they pulled us all out, all the engineering staff out for a couple days. And it was interesting. I mean, we flew into San Francisco and we did a few touristy things, even though we were supposed to go straight to the office, but we were just like, screw this. We're going to do some touristy things. We'll just tell them our flight was late. And so we did that. We did some touristy things in San Francisco, got some food and everything. And it was interesting. That was my first time in San Fran. And then we drove from there to San Jose. And it was interesting seeing, like, the culture is so different from the East Coast. Like the tech culture. I mean, I guess even like the non-tech culture is different, but like the tech culture is so different. It's just, how can I put this? They start work at like noon and they'll work for a couple hours, and then as an entire office, they'll go out to dinner and be dinner in bars until midnight or 1 a.m. and then go home and crash, and then come back by noon the next day and do it all over again. It's so strange. And what was strange to them was, they would say to us, oh, do you guys go out to dinner all the time? And we're like, No. We work 9 to 5. Then we leave the office at 5 and we go home and have families and stuff. Like what? How does that work? It's like, I mean, that's kind of the way it is, Like, I mean, your significant other kind of gets a little upset if you're not around. But it's just like the culture out there is just so different than anything I was used to here on the East Coast. So it's, and I guess, I mean, there's also so much money being thrown around out there too, that I guess that plays a part in it. Like, one of the things that I found fascinating was that part of the company didn't get raises. They were not entitled to raises. And apparently that's not uncommon. Like, basically, if you want a raise out there in the tech field, you just change job. You don't get like yearly, quality, yearly raises or yearly adjustments for, what's the name of it? The income adjustments for I was going to say quality of life, but it's like, I guess they are quality of life adjustments, whatever, cost of living adjustments. And like, I get, every year that I've worked on the East Coast, pretty much every year we get some kind of cost of living adjustment, like 2% or whatever, or a raise if the company's having a particularly good year, Up there, apparently it's just like, nope, you don't get anything. If you want a raise, you just go find another company to work for. And so that's why so many people are just like rotate in and out of jobs, like they're nothing out there. And so companies are like constantly in a brain drain situation, it feels like, out there, because you get somebody who comes in, they learn your systems, they learn how everything works, and then they're gone because you didn't pay them enough. It's like, it seems like a problem that could be easily solved. It's just the way they do it. It's very, very strange. Very, very, very strange. Let's see if I can copy this. Paste that in there. Do basic. We'll do refresh token flow. Do that. Don't need anything here. We'll do basic. We'll ask for basic read and basic write. Like I've been doing. Register this application. Okay, we got this application registered. So if I go in here, let's restart so it gets this update. We go into Postman to try to test out our third-party app here. So we need a. Go in here, rid of this, and go paste that in, right? Boom. So that's our token name. There's our callback. Authorized token. Oh no, wait, that wasn't the. What is that? Oh, that's the token it picked up. Never mind. I was like, what the hell? No, client secret is what I want to paste that into. We got that. Then the client ID. This still works, right? Yeah. Copy that. And we put that in here. SHA-256, basic read, basic write is what we want. Alright, and let's see if I get an access to it. Fail. You have failed. Alright. did I fail? Authentication accept. Okay. What did it write to the... It looks like I wrote the client secret to the database. Oh, I'm doing a refresh token. Well, which I think what was I doing here? Authorization code. I wonder if they don't have a way of doing refresh token here. I feel like that should work. Because, yeah, I'm doing authorization code, but... I wonder if that's really... I wonder if that's really what's... I wonder if I can only do authorization code here. Because it does have like a refresh, auto refresh token. But actually it's saying auto refresh token, which is not really the same thing. Renew token. What happens if I... Let me edit... We can test our edit here. So I edit this and change this to authorization code flow. Hey, that failed. Okay. It was. Their code while attempting to update application. Invoke string length because password is null. Oh, okay. This is checking the validation for the password complexity, but I don't. It's validating the client secret, but I'm not on that. Which, but let me go into. Let me just, for sake of argument, I'll fix that, but let me, for sake of argument, let's edit that directly in the database so I can test this thing. Authorization code. Save that. Try this again. Okay, yeah, so user 1, and then password here for user 1, copy, bang, allow application access, yes, authentication complete. Okay, this is the token I brought back. That's the token brought back. So then if I send to the API here, I should get OK of it. And I do, because we're authenticated. Okay, so Postman knows how to do authorization flow. Doesn't look like it knows how to do refresh token flow. Unless there's another setting for it. I wonder. But that's good. I mean, we tested this other thing that's working the way I would hope it to work. Postman refresh token. flow. One data source. Analyze authorization. Client information endpoint. Grant type is authorization code. Callback. Yeah, that's not this. That's authorization code flow. Refresh token flow. My applications use refresh token, refresh access token, exponential artifact. I'll have to ask the user to log in again. Okay. Can I not postman refresh token example? That's not token refresh. Refresh your access tokens without having to go through the entire authorization process again. Sure, but that's not the refresh flow. ID tokens. ID tokens are a type of token used to identify the end user was authenticated with OAuth 2.0 provider. Use identity information. I don't think Postman has the ability to do it. Yeah, refresh token flow plus Postman. Working. Let's do this. That is not quite right. Push token flow. Wait, what the hell? Token request with refresh. You're choosing call A2 or A3. authorization is just set to the bearer token. Oh, but they're calling the token endpoint direct. That's not what I want. I want to call the endpoint I want to call, not the token endpoint. Yeah, of course I can call a token endpoint and get the refresh token from that, but then you gotta use it for the real call. Clear refresh token flow. I wonder if the Postman can't do it. I wonder if what is that other app that a colleague of mine uses? What do you call? I forgot what it's called. And Dope UI, Thunderclap, Fire Camp, Swagger, Pistol, Insomnia. None of these sound like it. Let me see. API. How about this? Go off to refresh token flow guy. Yeah. This thing, cool. Off tool. Oh, this is online. Off tools. No, thank you. Refresh token graph flow. May only be able to test it through JUnit Pro. What I'm getting at here. I mean, that's fine. I imagine most are going to use the authorization flow anyway, and just reload it when they need to. Load test tools. And I mean, I'm not really testing anything that I've at that point. It's really just making sure spring security is working, I guess. I'm just surprised that this doesn't. I was really surprised that this doesn't have a. It's got authorization code, implicit client credentials, which is client flow, which is something different. Implicit is also something completely different, another flow. And more specific customizations to your OAuth 2 request here. Authorization. Editing authorization. OAuth 2.0. There we go. Changing the OAuth 2.0 token type. Is it just access token or ID token? Token name. Challenge method. I don't even have that. Token. Oh, alright. Well, it is what it is. It's working the one way, so I'm gonna call that a success. If it's even just a partial success. So that's good. We need to edit so that it ignores the when it calls validate, have it ignore the other thing. Ignore the validation on the client secret because it's not on the edit page. And it won't be on the edit page, it'll be on its own page. Change secret page once I get to that. Update, delete, edit, here we go. Wait, is that the one? Applications edit. Oh, that's showing the edit page.
I guess we all have future pants.
Then where's
The
the
pants we're going to wear tomorrow. And the next day.
updates?
And the day after that.
Oh, here it is. Here's up. Okay. in here. Any client secrets.
And the day after that. And the day after that.
I guess I'll just do Boolean skip client secrets. Validate. Validate.
I guess we all have
Do
future
that,
plans.
and then I just have to
What we're going to wear tomorrow
fix these.
and the next day.
This would be true. Skip it. Right, because on false I do it. So actually, oh yeah, no, that's yeah. I did that right. Validate, and then up here we put false. I want it to check that one. All right, Outlaw, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it, and have a good night, sir. Hope everything goes. Hope everything's well. And I'll try to catch. Depending on when you're on tomorrow, I'll try to catch some of your stream. It depends on what time, because I'm gonna get started around. I usually start my stream around 2:30 my time, so that would be 3 hours. So that'd be probably 11 a.m. your time. So I'll probably be streaming when you're streaming. But if I get done and you're still on, I'll be over. Oh, weekends are off. I thought you were streaming. Racing this weekend or something. Or maybe I misheard that. But whatever. I will be around. I will be around one way or the other. That's funny. Oh, someone else. Oh, okay, you'll be joining our stream. Okay, got it. All right. Well, see you. Good night. I like how this. So the name of the song is Abstraction, but the album cover says "Felt cute, might delete later." It's got an image of a cat with a selfie stick. That's pretty funny. All right. So this is working pretty good. I think we've got this squared away now. Oh, I gotta test this edit. Test that. Make sure we can still edit things. I should test the validation as well to make sure that's working. That should be easy enough to do. And then I think I'm gonna submit what I got and probably call it a night myself, because approaching midnight, and it would be nice to kind of get some sleep after the long week here. That's assuming my brain will let me sleep, because what'll probably happen is I'll shut down the stream, and then I'll go on YouTube and I'll probably watch movie reactions for another hour or something until my brain is finally ready to go to sleep. That's usually what happens. That's the one downfall to streaming at nighttime, is that you get done the stream and you're still kind of pumped up a little bit, you know? It's hard to just kind of like turn your brain off and enough to go to sleep. But 'tis the way it has to be when you have a day job. If I go in here and edit, and I say save, boom, and stop me. Oh yeah, I need to wire up the users approved too. This will be good because I have data now that I can wire it up with. All right, so I go register new application, and I hit register, and that's 5. Okay, good. So this, please fill out this field. So that's fine. I have it both client side and on the server side. So they try to bypass the client side requirement, it'll still hit them on the server. Actually, I can test that. Let's test that. Let's test that by removing this. Actually, it'll probably hit me with the client with the pattern thing, right? Oh, there we go. So it flagged it. It didn't put the it must select at least one scope, but didn't put the secret under here. Didn't put the thing under there. Wait, secret error. Oh, it does have them there. It's just they're not showing up. So put them there, they're just not showing up on the page. I wonder why that is. Client secret error. Last handout feedback. It's got the is invalid on there. What's the difference between that and then this guy? Feedback selected scope error and feedback. Client secret error. Feedback. Where the hell is it putting? Is it just not displaying? Oh, display is none. Why is it not none here? Is invalid. Invalid feedback is invalid. Invalid. Valid. Did I not match this up? Wait a minute. ID client secret. Did I miss something here? Are you described by? Error. Like this has got display block on it, which is correct because it comes under. Oh, because under. Wait. Is invalid. It's at the same level as is invalid. Okay, so my problem here is that this is not at the same level. So I gotta move that. If I move this up, inside there, no. I can do it right on the page without having to redo it. Applications edit. Yeah, because this is within. Yeah, it's at the same level. So this one. Wait, that's edit. I want new. Div ID. Yeah, because I put a input group there. Which is interesting because that means it doesn't work on that other page either. I think I copied. Let's put there. Go for home. Let's go here. Register new. And remove, because I never really tested that removing that required from there. I should do, because anybody could do this and try to pull a fast one. There it is. Okay, that's better. I gotta fix that on the. That's an easy fix on the other page as well. Gonna do that. That would be on the registration. Yeah, I gotta just move this. Just have to move this up into here. And we're good. Cool. Okay. All right, excellent. So we've made progress. That means all I need to do is wire up that counter again. We're back to where we were. So I just have to wire up that counter, which should not be a big deal tomorrow. And then also do the user side of things where the users can remove their rescind their permissions for apps, which again I don't predict will be difficult. And that then kind of wraps up the initial pass at getting third-party apps to be able to connect, which means I can then, I mean, I know I don't have the testing done, but I don't have unit tests on anything yet, so I need to do a full-fledged go through and get unit tests done. But I could at least then put a pull request out and pull that down directly to the main trunk, and then there's some pull requests waiting that have been piling up from Dependabot about updating some of our dependencies. So maybe be able to tackle all that tomorrow. That sounds rather good. And maybe if I can tackle all that, maybe I can actually begin to look at some of the chat stuff, or even begin to look at spots where I can start to integrate HTMX. So, all right, good stuff. Good stuff, I would say here. Let's go and save all this. Let's kill this server. There. And let's get this committed at least to branch. Updated register new app edit registration to have the user submit a client. Client secret. What else? That's it. Oh, that's right. I still don't have the. I still need a page where they can actually change the client secret. But we have the bits and pieces of that. I'll do that tomorrow. I don't think that's going to be too crazy. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be too crazy at all. That'll be the next thing. So we'll do that. So yeah, commit and push. There we go. Cool. That is out there on the old GitHub. There we go. Issues and pull requests up there now. Nice. All right, cool. Yep. Let me close this out. Put Firebase down for right now, and close this out as well. Cool beans. And you know what? I'm gonna quit that too, just so it doesn't freeze up on us. We're trying to do things. But yeah, that will do it again for me for tonight, my friends. So progress has been made. Let's see if anyone is available out on the old live space that I can send you guys to or suggest you guys go to. Let's see here. Interesting. Okay. Okay, cool. I was wondering if he's live or not. It looks like Just T is live, from what I can tell. So, gonna send you guys over there and say again, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Hope everyone has an excellent morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what it is for you. And hope to see you back here again in the future for some more stuff, whatever happens to suit your fancy. Until then, see you, bye.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow? Yo!